Thursday, Crain and Company. Guys, I don't know what we're going to talk about
Anything
today.
to talk about today.
If anybody got any ideas, if anybody's got any ideas out there in the sports world of anything that has happened, please let us know. I'd love to be able to talk some sports today.
End of multiple eras.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Belichick.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Belichick.
This morning, yeah.
Pete Carroll out and the GOAT, man.
Man, let's get into it. 7-time national champion and the greatest college football coach of all time, Nick Saban, retires from Bama. The Seahawks move on from head coach Pete Carroll, and the Patriots may be done with Bill Belichick. And our friend Matt Moscona joins us to discuss the big-time hires for LSU football and all the other craziness going on right now. I'm Jay Crain, and welcome to Crain and Company. An era ended yesterday as the greatest college football coach in history, Nick Saban, announced he was retiring in Alabama, and instantly the speculation of who will have the unfortunate task of following him went rampant, and it should. It's one of the biggest stories out there, and we're about to cover it here. But before we do that, can we all just take a second to recognize his greatness? Because we don't get to see this every day. You rarely get to see it multiple times. And the question that should be being asked isn't just how he did it, but why he did it. Because the how's pretty evident. We all know he built a machine, and when you add the resources, the best scheme, the best players at a place that is more passionate about college football than pretty much any other, the finished product can be great. But in my opinion, the why is what helped him win more than anything. Now, we only really get to see one side of Nick Saban for the most part, the disciplinarian with laser focus, who isn't afraid to coach his players hard, falls in love with the routine. And we've seen him go crazy on the sidelines and get mad at the media. But to attain the success that he did for as long as he did takes way more than that. Because the truth is, Nick Saban is a people person. He genuinely cares about his players as people, not just athletes. That's the only way you can get the most out of an individual as a leader is if they truly know you love them and you care about them. And if you have ever talked to anyone who Nick Saban has coached or recruited, they'll tell you he's hilarious. And there's a side of him that most will never get to see, and that's probably by design. Now, to me, that was the secret sauce for him. And not many people will be talking about that today. And that's a shame. Now, Saban isn't perfect. I'm not saying that. And most fan bases will be happy he won't be lurking over the realm as college football's overlord anymore. Hell, I'm from Auburn. I'm not going to cry any tears. You'll get no sympathy from me. But we can all recognize his greatness. And we should. So kudos to the GOAT, the chosen one, the missile with a whistle, Coach Nick Saban. We bring in former Michigan quarterback, married to the daughter of Richard Todd. So there's a big tie in there to Alabama. David Cohn, my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crain. And David, it's going to be fun to talk about who replaces him. I would not, as great as Alabama is, and you look at what Nick Saban did, not just on the football field, but bringing in people from out of state, right? People from New Jersey weren't going to Alabama because of the academics or because of the town of Tuscaloosa. Right, you went there because of the football team. Nick Saban is Alabama. So why would you want to be the guy that replaces him? To me, I would, especially if you're in a good spot, I want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaced the GOAT.
Yeah, you said that.
That's who I want to be. But just overall, Nick Saban retiring, the greatest to ever do it.
I love your open. I thought you said a lot of great things there. I was on radio live yesterday with our friends over at Sports 56 when this broke, and honestly, I thought that they were pulling my leg at first because nothing had broken on the story just yet. But Nick Saban retiring from Alabama is truly the end of an era. He won his first championship at Alabama my senior year when I was at Michigan. And the only thing I can compare it to since we've been doing this is Tom Brady retiring, to where every accolade and every statistic is more impressive than the last. And everybody today is going to be talking about the championships. They're going to be talking about the wins. But something not a lot of people are going to talk about, you alluded to it a little bit, is the impact that he had on the university and the community. So in 2007, when Nick Saban arrived in Tuscaloosa, Alabama's enrollment increased since then from 25,000 students a year to 40,000 students. Ooh. Now, that's a 60% jump compared to a 10% national average. And the type of student that began to enroll was out of state rather than in-state. So now the majority is out of state, where the tuition dollars are 3 times in-state dollars. So Alabama paid Nick Saban $130 million over 16 seasons, and you could argue that he brought in billions of dollars, not just to the university, but also to the city of Tuscaloosa. That's why he was the highest paid coach in college football. That's why every other program around the country is paying these guys tens and hundreds of millions of dollars and moving on from them so quickly, because it's been proven if you can get that right guy, the impact he can have on a community and the growth you can see is exponential. Now, I have no doubt that one of the reasons Nick Saban decided to retire now rather than a few seasons from now is the changing landscape in college football. And look, every industry experiences change. That on the surface is not just a bad thing. What's wrong with college football right now is there's so much change with a lack of leadership. So I'll say this directly to Nick Saban. Now that you have retired after just a storybook career, please get into a leadership position with college football. I know that the TV networks have already called and there may already be offers in place, and certainly TV can pay a lot more, but college football needs you more. You're the one guy who would be unanimously listened to across the board, and I think with even 1 week of your leadership, very impactful change could be made to the sport. But congratulations on 50 years of excellence in a field where it's hard to keep a job for 5 minutes.
Oh, without a doubt, and it's harder than ever right now. Blaine, I wasn't alive to watch John Wooden. I wasn't, alive for some of these runs we've seen that have been dynastical in the NFL. The 72 undefeated Dolphins with Coach Shula. Did get to see Belichick. Obviously, remember Phil Jackson, but man, this is it's the biggest story in a long time.
Oh, guy's gone, guys. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Lord. You did it. As a college football fan, look, Nick, you're the GOAT, obviously. We know that. We hate to see you leave, but as an Auburn fan, thank you for everything. Just go. Go to the lake. Hang out with Miss Terry. Do what you need to do, but please just get away. Help out college football. That's great. Help out college football. Just not Alabama. Just not them. I saw somebody say today that the reason the college football playoff committee let Alabama in is they knew it was Saban's last year.
If you look at kind of the way if you put together the dots a little bit, not that, and I think it caught a lot of people off guard. You asked the question, we're going to get to the Booster Club. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Going to be taking live calls. The phone line's open at 7:15. We want to hear from you. The coaches that it impacts the most, obviously you got to look within the conference, right? We can talk about the big dogs, Michigan, and the ones from outside the conference, but people that are in your own backyard, right? Kirby Smart, obviously. Mm-hmm. Well, we always ask the question, Nick Saban, we know, is the greatest college football coach of all time. Who's the greatest college football coach right now? I think it's Kirby Smart. Mm-hmm. This obviously creates a vacuum at the top. Jim Harbaugh, right, at Michigan. What's he going to do after winning a national championship? But I think the two coaches that affects the most are Hugh Freeze, obviously Alabama's rival, Kirby Smart. You look at Josh Heupel.
Ole Miss, Josh
and
Heupel.
we can name every SEC team, but really that inner circle of Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia,
Brian Kelly,
LSU, Brian Kelly. Those are the first four that I thought about. So we're going to get into who his replacement is, but again, it's the changing of a guard. Just reminds me like in England when they got those British guys with the funny hats that stand there and they're not allowed to move. Like when they change the guard, they just go walking off and the other guy just comes walking on. I don't know why I got that image of that, and it wasn't Dan Lanning who was coming to walk back in.
The fact that this team he had this year was on the younger side, and you're returning a quarterback, you're returning some key pieces. That's why I thought for sure Nick Saban would return next year. We've seen Mike Krzyzewski step down recently. Roy Williams, a lot of good coaches. Do you think these coaches are sort of being run out by the way college athletics is being run now, and just a never-ending free agency period with the transfer portal? They get no time off now.
Yeah, you obviously look at that. You look at the changing, and it had something to do with it. Like, I'm wondering, as more information comes out, how much of this decision was Nick Saban? Because it wasn't Alabama that made the decision. It was Nick Saban. And how much of it was his wife? We talked about Miss Terry a lot this past year. And, I mean, that's to me, the only person in his circle that could be like, hey, it's time. It's time to go. And he would listen. Hell, I've been married since May. I get it. I understand it. So I think it's that. I think it's, having, as old as he is, I know he still has the passion and the fire, but as old as he is, eventually you got to walk away. Like, eventually and you finished going, he didn't finish leaving Alabama, and he would say this: I'm not going to leave Alabama in a bad place after I've built it up like this. I mean, you just made the college football playoff. You look at that roster. Now the crazy thing is the transfer portal opens up for Alabama players. There's going to be a raid on that roster. But I want to get into who's going to replace him, because that's going to be the fodder for today. But I just want to make sure that we talked about, the why and how he was able to maintain its success, and the person that a lot of people, unless you're, connected or tapped in, really don't know about. And to me, that was important. And that's how you string that success together while being malleable at the top. I think those are a couple of his biggest strengths.
So I have On3's hot board up right now with the names to replace Nick Saban. You've been talking about Dan Lanning for a long time. He's at the top of the list. I've heard reports that Dan Lanning is either already in Tuscaloosa or is arriving today. But even before we talk about this list of names here, how much of a say will Nick Saban have in who replaces him?
All of it.
All of it? Like, literally, Greg Byrne, the AD, just hands the decision over to him, or how will it work out?
Well, there's obviously probably been talks before this. Like, there's a protocol in place. I don't think this is a build the parachute on the way down situation. Nick Saban will choose who replaces him. He's earned that. He's earned that right. I mean, you talked about just the money that he brought in for the city of Tuscaloosa and the state of Alabama, and what he did to resurrect that program. We used to laugh at Bama. I mean, if we're going to be honest, I mean, with Shula and them there, and then Franchione, and then, we all know what happened with all the mics. So, yes, and he's obviously going to have people in mind. That's why I do not think this is Lane Kiffin. I do not think you run a militaristic style program and then hand it over to a couple people that went to a Fish concert. Like, I don't think you do that. Like, not that Lane Kiffin's a great coach, but you're not. And if you know what, Nick likes Lane, but he doesn't love Lane. This isn't like some, meet the parent situation with Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller. Like, that's not what it is. Don't get it confused. And Lane's got a great situation right now at Ole Miss. I don't think he's going to Alabama. I don't think Nick Saban wants to lead the program in that system, per se. Dan Lanning, who knows, $20 million buyout, got it rolling at Oregon. You're going to the Big Ten. But I will go back and say this. Who wants to replace this guy? Like, you can't win. You will not be an upgrade.
It's not Dabo.
You will not have the amount of success that Nick Saban had. Right? You're a stopgap. Here's what's going to determine whether Alabama can stay unbelievably relevant at the top. Here's what's going to determine it. The first time they go 8-4 or 9-3, how does the fan base react? That's what's going to determine it. Because if you stay on the Soviet Union, like, everything's perfect, we cannot have any mistakes, like, then all of a sudden the Berlin Wall gets torn down. Like, it just, that's what happens. But if you're patient and you understand that you were just on the greatest ride that you will ever be on as an Alabama fan, and the next guy's going to try and recreate it, but he's not going to be able to recreate it, like, you have to be patient. But asking a SEC fan base, especially one that has had the success that they've had at Alabama, to be patient is like asking Sherman Klump not to eat that Kit Kat bar.
And what's even tougher for the guy coming in is now that college football is becoming more democratized with an expanded playoff and the transfer portal and NIL, a lot of, if Alabama does go 8-4, 9-3, a lot of the reasoning may be for that, but the new coach will catch all the blame. So before we even go down the list, though, just Dan Lanning at the top, his name's gotten thrown around for a while, and Jake said it for a while. Your thoughts on Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a good hire. But if you're Dan, why would you leave Oregon?
Not why would you leave? I understand leaving Oregon for Alabama, just not right now. Not in this circumstance, right? I want to be the hero that comes in and saves it again. I don't want to be the guy that turns into the villain.
Can you say no to that job though?
Well, it's not like Oregon can't pay you. Like, I mean, if it's a financial thing, that's easy, right? Oregon's got money.
You'll never be good enough.
You'll never be good enough.
Like LeBron's kid.
Yeah.
Like, you can be a great player. You probably will be a great player. You'll never be good enough. Dan Lanning at Alabama will be a great coach. He'll never be good enough. That's what's the interesting thing you brought up, and I was kind of talking about this with an Alabama fan yesterday, one of my buddies. I was like, what will it be like if y'all lose 4 games? If y'all go 8-4 one season, how does your fan base react to that?
You know what's going to happen.
You already try to run them out because it's going to happen. Sooner or later, y'all are going to have an 8-4 season. It's a realistic thing. As all the other fans in college football, they've been through it. They know how to handle it. But Bama's been at the top so long. You've been sipping from the cupeth for so long. Will they be able to handle that adjustment?
All right, I'm not going to go directly in order of this because I do want to skip down to Dabo Swinney. Like you said, obviously he played at Alabama. He won a championship there. You've talked for a long time about Dabo Swinney won't be the next head coach at Alabama. And I've sort of gauged the pulse of the fan base for a long time. And like you said, my wife's family, I've asked them. A lot of people don't want Dabo Swinney to be the next coach at Alabama. The interesting thing to me here is if Nick Saban truly, if one of the reasoning is because of the changing landscape of college football, that Nick Saban stepping away, Dabo Swinney hasn't really embraced the new college football with the transfer portal either. That, to me, is the bigger reason why he wouldn't transition over to Alabama.
I don't think it would work the way that he wants to do it, the way he's doing it at Clemson, and the way he's done it in the past at Alabama. Like, you can't not go embrace NIL. You can't not embrace the transfer portal and think you're going to compete in the Southeastern Conference that just added Texas and Oklahoma. I'll say this again. Dabo Swinney, why? Why? You're the hero at Clemson. You're the GOAT at Clemson. So you're going to spurn the place that you built up, that you will go down as the most legendary coach of. You're the Nick Saban of Clemson. So you're going to spurn them. You're going to spit in their face and then go to Alabama to replace the GOAT at Alabama in this landscape of college football? I don't see it. I'm going to throw a name out there, and Alabama fans, you can moan and get upset. I'm just going to, and I've been told this for a couple years from somebody that was on staff at Alabama.
Let me guess.
Do not be shocked if Bill O'Brien's name
I was going to say it.
starts to pop up, and you'll get upset, and that's fine. I could care less. It's not, if I wanted to make everybody happy, I'd sell ice cream for a living. I'm here to tell you what I'm being told and what I think. And in these coaching searches, I grew up in a house with a coach in the SEC that played in the NFL. It's typically not the first guy you hear that gets it, right? Name a time where it's the first guy that you heard got the job.
Yeah.
So who's the first one you're hearing right now? Dan Lanning. And who the hell knows at the end of the day? I'm not Dan. I'm not in his circle, right? It's his choice. He's a grown man. But it's typically not the first guy you hear.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Bill O'Brien because I was about to in the next tier of groups here, which is the 3 offensive coordinators that Nick Saban has had. If it's true that Nick Saban will have a hand in his replacement, then he's going to hire guys who've either coached for him before or he knows really well and trusts, right? So obviously, Lane Kiffin's name is being thrown around. He was Nick Saban's offensive coordinator, has success at Ole Miss. That relationship didn't end great to me when he was at Alabama, so I don't know how they
And if you've ever heard any of the stories about what went down, like when Lane Kiffin was at Alabama with the way that Nick Saban did things, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's some people out there who don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah, but his name, he was an OC there. Bill O'Brien, like you just said, Bill O'Brien's been a head coach at both levels. However long Greg Burns' list is of names, Bill O'Brien's name's on it.
It's on it.
And then the other offensive coordinator who, Nick Saban is responsible for revitalizing his career is Steve Sarkisian. Seems like he's in a great place in Austin right now, got Texas to the college football playoff. Would Sark entertain this if Alabama calls?
No, I don't. I think Texas is one of the few places that, to me, they have more cachet, if we're going to be honest. Overall, if you look in the long span of things, what do you have to gain if you're Steve Sarkisian from leaving Texas to go to Alabama when you're both in the SEC and you just made the college football playoff there? There's a ton of hope. You're recruiting well. I don't see that happening. Here's the interesting part. Typically we see in family businesses, like, the grandfather may have started it, his son took over, and then you're grooming, right, your son or your child to take over the business. Well, to me, that was Kirby Smart. And turns out, though, like, you were never really Kirby's father. Like, you were his stepfather that got him when he was young and built him up. But he went home to Georgia, where Daddy and Mama really live.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pruitt, that obviously didn't work out. So the proteges, and his coaching tree is a forest. It is an absolute forest. And it's going to be somebody that's attached to it. But I think his top proteges, right, I don't think they're in the running.
Okay.
Like, I know Dan Lanning was a GA there, but Dan Lanning did not do what Kirby Smart did.
Sure.
Like that's not, you look at names like Tosh Lupoy, like there's some other ones that are out there that are very, very interesting to me that were coordinators. But when it comes to the son who was supposed to take over the burger joint, oh no, he's over there. Wow, he just started CCC.
It's like Succession.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on
there's always, look, there's always one guy out there that we don't talk about enough. It's about lifting weights and accountability.
I knew this was coming.
About lifting weights and accountability. It's time for him to come home. Let's get Brian Harsin on the phone.
Wow. All right.
All right. I want to get to the Booster Club here real quick.
All right. Let's go to George Rudder with the question. What's up, George? Hashtag Ask Crain & Co. How many coaches are going to get a huge contract or contract extension because their ADs think that they will leave for Alabama?
Oh, look.
The Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah, Jimmy Sexton licking his lips, rubbing his hands together.
Birdman action.
Here's the interesting part to me. Nick Saban had the golden clause in his contract. I have to be paid the most. And if somebody is paid more than me, that clause hits and I instantly have to be paid more than them. But only one person can have that clause.
Yeah.
Because if you have two people, it's a never end.
Like this.
Unless you pay him like the exact same the whole time. Like it's got to be Kirby. It's got to be Kirby. Who's grabbing that clause? That would have been, if I was Kirby Smart, that'd be the first call I made. The minute I heard Nick Saban was retiring, I'd be like, I want the clause. Yeah. It's like being Santa's arch nemesis. Give me clause. I want it now.
Kirby, when he found out, was just in some semi-dark room, like with a hood on, just evil laughing and just rubbing his hands together.
Oh, just like the...
Give us a little Palpatine action there. That's why when they talked about Jim Harbaugh possibly getting that extension that would give him $12.5 million a year, even last week I was like, well, Nick Saban would be the happiest guy.
Yeah, who gets the clause?
Yeah, who gets the clause?
It's got to be Kirby.
Let's go to Justin Alferrari with a $5 donation. Justin, thank you. He says, when Jay Wright left Nova, the next guy up, and look at Nova now, they are mediocre. Just a friendly reminder.
Another guy retired in his prime.
Well, name a coach that took over for the GOAT and did as well as he did. I'll wait. It doesn't happen. Because it's impossible. This isn't the new norm of just having the GOAT that just dominates the whole time. So there is going to be a regression back to the mean. The story of how Alabama will do going forward is, what is the reaction, like we talked about earlier, when that first regression happens? Is it panic, which it probably will be? That's what I'd put my money on. Or is there patience? And I will continue to say, if you expect an SEC fan base that has been sitting in that ivory tower for this long to not freak out the first time it goes bad, then that is a losing bet. I don't care if it's Mississippi State or Alabama. It's just, that's not how it works.
What if a championship comes before the regression? I'm thinking of two situations here. One, when Nick Saban was at LSU and won a championship. Why are you about to punch me?
No,
Les Miles took over. Les Miles took over at LSU, won a championship 4 years later with that 2007 championship, ultimately was fired. I'm thinking about Jimbo Fisher as well, taking over for a great in Bobby Bowden, won a national championship, but ultimately left, went to Texas A&M. What if a championship comes for someone at Alabama and then you have an 8-4 season?
How long does that championship take to come?
Yeah, like
4 years. You think that Bama's giving a guy 4 years, like less?
If it's 3 years from now, Dan Lanning wins a championship at Alabama, and then 2 years after that, they go 8-4. Is that going to be seen as Dan Lanning's championship, or is that just going to be seen as a championship?
See, this is another part that sucks about taking over this job. You go win the whole thing next year. You did it with Saban's players.
That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't want to be that guy. You can come in and do it. All hail the king. All that stuff, kiss the ring, all that's great. I'm not doing it. I'll replace you. I'll be your Tobey Maguire.
I'll do it. Fine, Greg Byrne.
I'll do it, please. Oh, please hire me.
No.
I won't even,
you want to talk about
4?
You want to?
Yeah, right.
You want to talk about going? You want to talk about going
right.
Owen Wilson? Oh God, Blaine will go behind enemy lines.
We're playing a top 10 team every week.
Yeah, it's like a schedule on NCAA football when you can
A+.
change it to make yourself get ranked higher.
Let's go to Moses Denton. What's up, brother? Hashtag Ask Crain Code. Do you think Alabama will hire a head coach with the NFL experience? And what if old Urban Meyer goes to Alabama?
You know, I've advocated for Urban Meyer at a lot of places.
Me too.
But Urban Meyer and Nick Saban are rivals. You think Urban Meyer wants his sloppy seconds? Have you lost your mind?
No.
Have you lost your mind? Like, it's not like you're going to go there and usurp Nick Saban. Like just even if you are Urban Meyer. But now it looks like you're trailing that. It's like you're going after the divorced wife. Come on, man.
He's been a great hire at Texas A&M.
And
USC,
Auburn, I thought.
Notre Dame, maybe even Auburn. Not this one, for sure. And you talk about NFL coaches, a couple names on the list were Mike Vrabel and Dan Quinn. Those guys, to me, are not coming down to the college level to deal with the chaos of the transfer portal right now, unless it were, say, maybe the Buckeyes for Mike Vrabel. Short of that, no.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, it's you can't have it both ways. You can, on one hand, say, oh, well, you know, going to play in the NFL, that's different. It's the same sport, but a different game. And then on the other hand, say, oh, yeah, you can go to the NFL and college, and there's no change. It's the same thing. It's a totally different game in college in every single aspect, even with the freedom of movement. That's what I call it. It's not just a college basketball term that we've had in college football now over the last couple of years. It is totally different. So you're going to, because Mike Vrabel, let's see what the Patriots do first with Mike Vrabel. Mm-hmm. The name DeMeco Ryans, guys, I get that he played at Alabama. I remember watching him. He tackled everybody. Yeah. He was incredible. That man just made the playoffs in year one at the Houston Texans with a rookie quarterback. He isn't going anywhere, okay? As much as I know he loves Alabama, right? Blood, sweat, and tears, right, for the university. This man is in the prime position in the NFL. As great as Alabama is, as far as being a place to coach at, this is the NFL, man, and he's balling right now. He's not doing that. That'd be a stupid decision, and DeMeco Ryans is not a stupid person.
All right, let's go to Rittendahl. He's got some breaking news. Apparently, Butch Jones was just seen in Tuscaloosa in the plane.
What was he? Was he the pilot?
I hope not. Let's get
the only way Butch Jones is going to Tuscaloosa on a plane right now.
Funny enough, Darby Lou's uncle was the pilot who brought Saban to Tuscaloosa from Miami.
Dog, can you hit a brother up or something?
That was 17 years ago.
How's he doing now? He's still flying?
I don't know if he's flying Dan Lanning in. Don't know.
I don't know. Maybe shoot a text.
I know.
Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
I was going to Cohen Lewis with the $5 donation. Cohen, appreciate it, man. He says, as a huge Auburn fan, I appreciate all the competition throughout the years. The GOAT is going to be missed.
See, this goes back to I don't want my rival to do good. Like, obviously, sitting here analyzing Alabama and what they did, I can tell you straight-faced. I've been in it. I know how the sausage is made. But any rival, and Cohen, listen, I appreciate the sentiment. I think you're trying to be a good person. But deep down, you're celebrating right now. Like, there's no way any rival of Alabama is upset that you can say thanks for the memories, can be a Fall Out Boy song. But, I mean, the first thing that Auburn fans and LSU fans and Georgia fans and everybody heard the minute they realized that this was true, you know what they heard, David? Oh, happy day.
Yeah, you were singing that.
Oh, happy day.
When I look,
I'm so glad he walked.
When I think about what Jim Harbaugh in Michigan had to go through just to get this one national championship. I mean, he was on the brink of being fired, and he played quarterback for Bo Schembechler. What he had to go through just to get this one. And then I think about this man won 6 in 17 seasons, one every 3 years, and has another one from LSU.
Yeah, he big dogged everybody.
I can barely comprehend it.
He big dogged everybody. Mad respect.
And also, can I just say, I appreciate what y'all did for us, Michigan players and fans.
On that last one?
I appreciate
when
that.
Got that last one for you?
Appreciate that. Ran him out.
Well, see, I thought about this. Do you think if they don't beat Auburn, he doesn't retire?
That's a good question because he didn't go out a national champ, but I was thinking about this. He did go out an SEC champ, beat Georgia, and he did go out winning his last Iron Bowl.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe that fourth and goal from the 31 is deep and dark as it was. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is me rationalizing.
The long con?
Rationalizing? The long con.
I love it. Let's go to Chris Wall. What's up, Chris? UGA took a chance on Kirby when he had never been a head coach. I think Bama, if they don't get Lanning or another big name, take a chance on Glenn Schumann. I don't think it's far-fetched.
No, I don't think that's crazy. I think he's going to be on the list as well, the DC at Georgia, and he should be. I know Kirby's not going to, Kirby's going to let his coaches go where they want to go. I think Glenn Schumann's a legitimate name. And, it seems like Kirby Smart he was so patient and waited for the right opportunity and got the right opportunity instead of jumping at the first job. I think Glenn Schumann has done that as well. I wonder, does Todd Monken get a call?
From Alabama?
No, for the Ravens right now.
Yeah, but
to be the head coach of Alabama. I wondered that. If we're talking NFL guys that have a bunch of college experience,
he's going to get some sort of offer the way he's been coaching the last 3 years. What about Kalen DeBoer for Washington?
Yeah, it's just
It
feels like that's a really good fit.
Yeah, it feels weird.
It feels like that Kalen's a really good fit for Washington. But who the hell knows? It is Alabama.
Let's go to RRPP. He says it's a crazy feeling. Started really watching college football in 2008. All that I've ever known is Saban being on top every year. I don't know what will be next, but it will for sure be different.
Yeah, it's a changing of the guard. Football's cyclical. Like this, from schematically to who dominates to how the game is played. It's all cyclical. We got the phone lines. Open it up. 7:15 a.m. Central. What's up? Do you guys?
Well, no, just two things here. Whenever you're ready to move on.
7:15 a.m. Central. We're gonna get Matt Moscona in here at 7:10. We're gonna get these phone calls rocking and rolling. We want to hear from you guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But first, all right. Regardless of who you root for, how are your New Year's resolutions going? All right. Are you burnt out already? We know you haven't kept up with it.
Yeah.
All right. We're past January 7th. All right, you already made the decision to change the decision. All right, but if you're sticking to it and you want to get back on the train, there's still time. There's a lot of year left. All right, our friends at Fitbod, they got you covered. You need to add Fitbod to your workout essentials today. It's an app that creates a personalized workout for you based on your goals, abilities, and your gym setup. It helps you track and visualize your progress along the way. The truth is, a lot of people stop working out because they get bored, right? You have the routine. Everybody doesn't fall in love with the routine. If you're one of those people that's fallen out of love with the routine, the coolest part about Fitbod is they mix it up, right? They keep the body guessing, which is the best way to go about it while being unbelievably efficient and tailored to your capabilities, to your resources. And it couldn't be easier. It's fast to adjust the equipment so you have that personalized workout, whether you work out in the weight room or your living room. So join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan, and you can get 25% off your subscription or try the app free at fitbod.me/booster. That's fitbod.me/booster. All right, go do that. Helps us out, helps you out. It'll help you get back to resoluting those New Year's resolutions. And also, we're going to throw some merch in the chat. We'd really appreciate it, whether you donate to the show to ask questions or buy the merch. It really helps us out, and we really thank you guys for it. There's some really cool stuff in there. Everybody loves the hoodies. It's all the rage.
Yeah.
They're dope.
All right, quickly here. So like we alluded to at the top of the show, Bill Belichick and the Patriots are expected to part ways today after 24 seasons. We'll probably be breaking that down a lot tomorrow after it becomes official. But one thing we do know is another 72-year-old coach, Pete Carroll, the Seahawks are going to move on from their winningest coach in franchise history, and Pete Carroll. And he's one of only, 3 guys to win a championship at the college level and to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, this one, it's very hard for me to be shocked anymore. This one really shocked me because you've heard Pete Carroll in the run-up to this talking about how he still has the fire. He still wants to rock and roll. And where the Patriots are right now, talking about parting ways with Bill Belichick, makes a lot more sense than the Seahawks parting ways with Pete Carroll. Because it's not like the Seahawks have just fallen off a cliff like the Patriots have. Now, I understand that change is inevitable, right? And there's some Seahawks fans that are ready to turn the page. But this one, to me, I think is going to hurt worse than any of them. I regardless of who the Seahawks bring in, I don't think you're going to find a guy that connects, number one, with that city as well as Pete Carroll, connects with the players as well as Pete Carroll, and can get the most out of the Seahawks organization while he still has fires in the burners. And he does. I don't want to live in a world where people have more faith in Matt Eberflus and Dennis Allen than Pete Carroll. The Saints literally ran a different play than what Dennis Allen wanted to run, and he still has a job. Matt Eberflus hasn't won anything and sounds like he's a character out of Green Eggs and Ham or another Dr. Seuss book, which is fine. But you got more faith in this guy than Pete Carroll? Hell, if I was the Bears, the minute I heard Pete Carroll was getting fired, I'd have fired this guy and brought in Pete Carroll.
Wow. Yeah.
So it just shows you different organizations go about things different ways. But that one didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Blaine, Pete Carroll at the podium after this happened clearly was selling himself to other franchises. I mean, he looked like a guy who could coach for 20 more years, about to hop on a surfboard or something, right? Like his 72 is not like a lot of other guys' 72. How much of this has to do with just offensive coaches being so in demand, like the Sean McVay's, Kyle Shanahan's in that division right there? He stuck when he moved on from Russell Wilson, he stuck with Geno Smith, had back-to-back winning seasons, barely made the playoffs in the best season Geno's ever had, barely missed the playoffs this year. How much of it has to do with that?
I think it's huge. I think the amount of young talent that's in the NFL when it comes to coaching, it's giant. I'm telling you, the Lions offensive coordinator is going to be the hottest commodity, him and the Texans OC. And I wouldn't be surprised right now if the Seahawks already know the guy that they're going to get. And one thing about Pete Carroll, not only with football, just the positivity that guy spreads around a program, from USC to the Seahawks, not even be a guy that's associated with any of those organizations, but you can feel it as a fan. Hell, he chews the hell out of that gum on the sidelines, too. Yeah. I feel bad for it sometimes. But Pete can go do it somewhere, and there's plenty of options and places in the NFL where Pete can go right now and be successful. But right now, the NFL's a young man's game. That's what it is. They want it's a trendy league. It's always about trendy hires. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the OC from the Texans or the OC Ben from the Lions, Ben Johnson.
If you don't have the quarterback, it doesn't mean too much. The Falcons went offensive route with Arthur Smith. He's now out of a job. Texans went defense with D'Amico Ryan. They drafted C.J. Stroud, and they're in the playoffs right now. So it's just be careful moving on from a guy.
Well, if there's ever a time to get a quarterback, this is the draft to do it.
Yeah, if there was ever a time. Very true. All right, going to get Matt Moscona in here in 1 minute, but let's get back to the Booster Club.
All right, let's go to Garrett J. with a $20 donation. Garrett, appreciate it. Says, don't know how much the Rose Bowl impacted Saban's decision, but as an Auburn fan who grew up during the Saban era, I don't care if Michigan stole signs or trafficked orphan sea otters. Those boys will remain heroes to me.
I'm glad you brought that up. The orphan sea otter trafficking trade is a horrible business and something needs to be done about that. But don't you feel like since Nick Saban did this, once he made the college football playoff, he was retiring either way?
You think so?
Yeah, because if he'd have won it, he definitely would have retired.
I do agree that he's had a plan for a while.
So to me, I guess Michigan did speed up the process by a week by beating Alabama. But if you're going to retire after you lost the semifinal, I think you're going to retire after you won the national championship.
And now the portal opens for 30 days for Alabama players, right?
Yeah.
And you saw one 5-star wide receiver, I believe it was.
Ryan Williams?
Decommit. Why are you smiling?
Oh, happy
speaking about Michigan, it sounds like NCAA President Charlie Baker came out and said that he doesn't regret his decision to inform the Big Ten of Michigan's advanced scouting and that it legitimizes Michigan's championship. And there's no one in the world right now who thinks that Michigan's championship is tainted. Said, you hadn't been on Twitter then.
Yeah,
but it was a real tough day for the vacate crowd.
Well, here's the thing. What do you expect? You expect him to come out and be like, well, guys, I made a mistake.
Well, no, but I didn't expect him to say that Michigan's championship was legitimate, especially when the investigation is still open. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
This is your organization.
Look, he's innocent, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's how it felt right there.
He's guilty and still proven.
We'll see if he sticks around or goes.
We're going to find something, buddy.
Yeah. It's like he's the J. Edgar Hoover of the sports world. But no, yeah, it's that was interesting to see as well. But no, Garrett, it's I think you can be honest, and we always say two things can be true at once. You recognize the greatness, but if you're a fan base other than Alabama, you got a little bit better today. You got a little bit better.
Oh, the King's off his throne.
It's there.
Open. A seat at the table. A seat at the table. Just wait someone to fill it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jamie, baby. She says, everyone's saying Saban left because NIL is crazy. Saban, Carroll, and Belichick leaving in their 70s is not because of change. It's because of what you do in your 70s.
I don't know. You see Pete Carroll at that podium?
Yeah, I think it's an individual basis, man. It's like, I see you see old people that struggle. You see old people that thrive. You see young people that struggle. You see young people that thrive. I think it's a case-by-case basis because I don't look at age by numbers. I look at it as levels. So, I mean, you get to 72. I mean, you're literally about to fight the boss. It's pretty impressive. I think it's multiple. I don't think it's just one thing why Nick Saban decided to retire. I think he loves it too much for it to be one thing, unless that one thing was Terry, right? Saying that hey, you need to hang it up for us or whatever. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know those conversations, but I think it's multiple things.
People close to him have said that he mentioned, I don't want to be Joe Paterno. I don't want to be Bobby Bowden. I don't want to be like carried out of the out.
And you know what I love? There was no farewell tour. There was no, and I got a ton of respect for Lee Corso. I grew up on College Game Day, but they parade him out there every year. There's like a goodbye, like Sarah McLachlan song playing. Everybody's crying.
Well, Coach K did
crying. There's this tour of, all right, he's gone, and then he's back, right? I watched, you see this in Major League Baseball all the time in guys' last years. We saw it with Miguel Cabrera, like, hey, I'm gone. Every away stadium, I'm going to get a couple of bats, probably drink a beer in the dugout when nobody's watching. Like, I'm glad he went. This is a very Nick Saban way to do it. And look, I said yesterday, I think Pat McAfee just became the second prettiest girl at the dance at ESPN, because best believe Nick Saban.
The offer's already out.
Oh, well, yeah, all he did was practice all year. Yeah. When he went on like once a week.
Yeah.
Follow the bouncing balls.
Do you replace Lee with Nick Saban?
Look, like I said,
now you're thinking
we need him as commissioner, okay, or at least a consultant.
Czar.
Yeah, whatever C word you want. But he'll be great on TV. They can pay more money. I get it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Brian Vitrino. Brian, what's up, man? He says, thank you, Coach Saban, for bringing LSU back to life and the championships in 2003. Also, thank you for retiring after beating our ass for 17 years.
Again, LSU is one of the inner circle teams that got a lot better yesterday without doing anything. I know we're going to bring Matt Moscona in here. They made some big-time hires. But, yes, I mean, there are a few schools that are touching Alabama closer than anybody else. LSU, Auburn. You look at Georgia and the rivalry that they've had. I mean, Tennessee and the rivalry that they have. It just, again, it affects everybody, but it affects other places even more. But speaking about effect, it's always a great time we have the Moscona effect. Matt Moscona, after further review, big day for LSU's football staff yesterday. But, Matt, before we get into that, Nick Saban, gone, bye, it's over, the end, right?
Absolutely. You want to talk about the effect, fellas? The Saban news broke when I was live on air yesterday, and I went into about an 8-minute rant of jubilation. That's why I have no voice. My audience turned me into a meme. I'm so out of sorts. I forgot my headphones.
You were sober. You're sober drunk. You were sober drunk.
Yes. A total shambles. Drunk girl at the bar. Wearing the wrong shoe or one shoe, hair disheveled. Yes, that's me.
And she just drank O'Doul's for 4 hours and everybody's wondering what's going on.
You know what? I don't need any chemical high today, boys. This long crimson nightmare is over. It's a day that we all knew. Like, intellectually, you know the day is going to come. You just can't ever allow yourself to get to the point to believe or imagine what it will be like when it does.
Yeah.
I've said for years that Nick Saban's going to coach to the year 2174 because he's made a deal with the devil. And when the devil finally comes to stake claim after Nick Saban's 176th national championship, midfield at Bryant-Dennehy Stadium is just going to open up and suck that entire program straight to the depths of hell. And that happened yesterday at 4:06 p.m. Central Time with Chris Lowe's tweet.
Man.
And what did you expect me to do? Did you expect me to sit there and take that in stride?
Yeah.
No. I literally got up and ran around studio. I spiked a football. I dared Chris Lowe to be wrong. I dared him to be wrong.
Yeah. You should have challenged him to a fight.
I dare you to be wrong, Chris Lowe.
Well, Matt, here's what I said. Here's was my worry. Because again, we can be honest. You can be non-biased in your analysis, but we're all a fan of somebody. If you're not a fan of somebody, I think you should be federally investigated because something's wrong with you. And why are you doing this? But number two, what I was worried about is that Nick Saban would coach long enough for AI and technology to be able to mold his brain into a robot or clone it, and the Sabatron 3000 would roam the sidelines until the aliens decide to take us out. Like that was how I thought it was going down. I was looking at the technology race with how long Nick Saban was going to be in it. But
see, kind of like with Superman, where they take his hair and they put it on that ship and blast it into the sun, like with a nuclear weapon or something like that, and it creates the bad guy Superman, like that.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, exactly like that. I mean, I just didn't want Elon Musk to get too many ideas, sitting over there with the way that AI is going. But Matt, I do want to kind of throw out that why would anybody, and this is something we talked about, and I'm going to get to LSU fans, I swear, but why would you, even at a place like Alabama that's got all the resources, all the passion, right? Why on earth would you want to take that job to follow Nick Saban? Who worth their salt is going to want to be in that position? You can't win. It's an untenable and unwinnable position, and you know this better than anybody. How nuts is the Alabama fan base going to go that first 8-4 year? They may put you in one of those wooden owls like Nicolas Cage at the end of The Wicker Man and burn you in downtown Tuscaloosa. It's
a glorious thought because, guys, I looked at this. This is the most incredible statistic. There are so many ways you can quantify Nick Saban's dominance, excellence, why he is the greatest college football coach ever, and it's not even debatable.
Not even close.
But in 17 years at Alabama, he lost 18 conference games.
That's what I'm saying. Every statistic is more impressive than the one before it. Like, it's just never ending.
Whenever they go, that's why I'm so giddy. The watching Alabama games on TV just to see the images of the sad Bama fans when in disbelief when they lose, like to think they're living in that perpetual state now because they know their charmed, blessed, preordained existence is over. Like they're not going to suck next year. They're not going to be 6-6, but they know this thing, like their bulletproof vest is off now. They know it. So who wants that job? Anybody. Because the reality is the thing that makes men want to be head football coaches in college is whatever that thing is, that's the reason one of them is going to say, or all of them would say, I want that job. Yeah. Because they believe they can. And you have to have that little bit of weird, cross wire and crazy in your brain to think you can. So yeah, if it's Dan Lanning or Lane Kiffin or, whoever it may be next, I don't know. Everyone seems to think it's Lanning, but of course someone's going to take that job and be eager to take that job.
Oh yeah. Well, somebody's going to take it. I'm not saying it's not attractive, but I think a lot of these guys, like again, you're Steve Sarkisian, you ain't going anywhere. If I'm Dan Lanning, you're in a great situation in Oregon. So you're going to be the guy that follows Nick Saban? You're going to be the guy that goes in there? I just think it's going to take somebody that's young enough and dumb enough, honestly, to do it. I don't think any of these old heads are going to come in here and be like, I'll take over for Nick Saban. I'm going to tell you a name to watch out for, Matt. And I've said this for a year and a half. And people have pointed, they've thrown vegetables, lettuce, all type of stuff at me. Bill O'Brien, just remember I said it. Just remember I said it.
His name's on a list.
I'm just
however long the list is.
Just remember I said it.
Not at the top, that's for sure.
Not at the top.
Matt, I understand why you're giddy, okay? For the last 17 years, you guys have been battling Nick Saban, not just within the conference, but in your own division. But Nick Saban was the head coach at LSU for 5 seasons, even got half a national championship that you guys share with USC.
No code.
Does LSU,
he couldn't wait to say that.
Does the fan base consider, after Michigan has a full one?
Yeah, after Michigan wins the Natty, Matt, all of a sudden now he's
just gloss over that. Does the fan base consider Nick Saban a part of the Tiger family, or is he just forever a nemesis?
So and congrats on the Natty Cone. I was actually going to be polite to you until you just took my greatest sports memory and tried to soil it.
I'm just trying that's a fact. You have 2019 still. That's great.
It's not a fact, Cone, because the entire world of college football agreed to a system in place. LSU won it. I don't care what a bunch of fat old sports writers decided to hand a trophy to somebody, all right? That's why
I actually agree with you. I agree with you, but, you know.
I know you do, Cone, because you're a smart guy.
I had to listen to you with the 97 half national championship. The other day, I'm seeing USC's name right next to LSU on the Natty.
That up.
I was like, man, how did everybody, like, we had the BCS system. What are y'all doing claiming still? Either way, Nick Saban, is he a part of the Tiger family or not?
Yes. And so I think, am like many. So, guys, full disclosure, I was a senior at LSU in 03. And keep in mind, that was the first national championship that LSU had won in 45 years. So, an entire generation of LSU fans came and went without ever seeing that or believing it was even possible, right? That I mean, consider the context, guys. It was Miami or Florida State or Nebraska or Michigan. I mean, that was for Notre Dame. That was for them, not for us. Like that was an unrealistic, unreachable goal. Like we just wanted to go to a bowl game that was named after a fruit, right? I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So Nick brought LSU to the top of the mountain and said, "Look at the view up here. It's pretty good. Let's stay." Yeah. So yes, there are these conflicting emotions. It's the absolute unfiltered jubilation of knowing this long Crimson nightmare is over. But the other side, it's reverence and respect and gratitude for Nick being the greatest coach of all time, understanding that, and for what he did for LSU. And guys, there will come a day where he's back in Tiger Stadium and being honored with that 03 national championship team. And he should. There should be a Nick Saban statue. There should be banners and all the things that you would do to honor a national championship winning coach, because everything LSU has been over the last quarter century is because of him. It's because of what he started.
No, without a doubt. And I do want to shift. Yesterday was a huge day for LSU, interiorly, right? Personally, they brought in Blake Baker, a great hire as defensive coordinator, a guy that, and I'm going to get to the theme I'm seeing from Brian Kelly here. Then you bring back Bo Davis, who's one of the best defensive line coaches in the country. You get him from Texas for not that much more money than really in reality what he was making there. I think that tells you kind of the connection. What it seems like to me, Matt, because I've said this a million times, LSU, I still think, even with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and these Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman and Malik Neighbors, when I think of LSU, when I close my eyes, I still think of a defense that is flying around, knocking people upside down, running in that purple and gold, making big plays on special teams, and striking the fear of God physically into other teams when they get off of the bus and when you turn on the tape. And it's hard to recreate that from the outside, but it seems like Brian Kelly is bringing back guys that understand it, that feel that have had their hands in the Louisiana mud and muck and understand how to spice the gumbo, and are going to get those guys to, regardless of scheme, to play with the effort level and the physicality and the type of human being that LSU is used to seeing on defense. I think he's bringing it back home. He has to have balance to be able to win a national championship. You just had the Heisman winner and didn't even make the college football playoff because you were that bad defensively. But in your opinion, has this taken the Saban news out of it? It's obviously big. But these hires on the defensive staff, have you ever felt as confident in a coaching staff outside of Nick Saban than you do right now on the one that LSU has?
Look, LSU's had some good staffs. I can certainly understand the argument about the head coach and the success he's had. But I think your the premise of the sentiment is completely right. It took Brian Kelly a little while to get to that end to realize, hey, I don't need Brian Polian hopping on planes, jet setting all over the country to recruit 3-stars. The reason LSU has an advantage inherently is the dirt. You can throw a rock and hit 3-stars everywhere in Louisiana.
You're the only state school,
man.
I mean, really.
So I think how he's building his staff is with recruiters that really know the state and the culture and the region, and that's been an important shift for him. The Bo Davis thing is really interesting because you're right, Jake. The money was really negligible, and they were haggling really last week over about a difference of about $100,000 a year. But one thing, there's two things. Obviously, the opportunity to coach at his alma mater, and he had a lot of people leaning on him, a lot of people who he loves and respects. But the other thing, too, guys, is Bo Davis' son plays at Southeastern in Hammond, which is like 30 minutes from LSU.
I did not know that.
So I really think, and anybody that's a parent, I think, would understand the opportunity to be closer to your child. And guys, full disclosure, I have no idea if this is in the works or anything, but like, could you even get him a transfer, preferred walk-on type deal? He could coach his son. I don't know. But sometimes with coaching moves, family matters. There are more things that these men and women consider than just what's the dollar number. And I think that was the case with Blake Baker, whose wife was an all-SEC soccer player at LSU. And I think that's the case with Bo Davis as well.
Yeah.
Matt, God, what a beautiful day. What a beautiful day.
Blaine's just...
I was like a Disney princess.
Blaine's like the girl on Sound of Music.
I just walk outside, I was singing, little birds were flying and landing on my shoulder. I just feel free. I felt freer today when I woke up this morning.
You felt freer?
I really did.
Yes.
I really did. I felt that feeling. We're going to get some questions from the chat here. We're going to start it off with King Don Sobek. Matt, he wants to know from you, how many recruits do you think Bama will lose because of Nick Saban leaving?
I was kind of doing the math in my head yesterday, and when you look at the guys that have already gone into the portal there, and then on top of that, players that have either they're going to graduate or leave early for the pros, they're going to lose more than 30 guys from this current roster. And I know they already lost a 5-star yesterday who decommitted after the announcement, and there no doubt will be more. But guys, think of any coach in that transitional year. You typically sign half a class. So I would imagine the exodus from Bama will be even more intense. The one thing that I really think is interesting is, like, let's say hypothetically Dan Lanning does get the job. Well, any player at Oregon would then have a 30-day window to enter the portal. Could he potentially bring current Oregon players or current Oregon commits to Tuscaloosa? And I'm just using Lanning because he's like the odds-on favorite right now to get the job, right? But that could be extended to anybody that would get the job. So I think in the NIL portal era, there are ways to patch those holes more easily. Hard to give a number, Blaine, but man, I think you're going to look what happened at A&M. That was Jimbo. I mean, look what happened.
Speaking of that, hey, Matt, speaking about it, Jimbo, you missed it by less than a year, bud. Oh, now I'm never going to cry for a guy that got an $80 million buyout. I watched him the other day in an interview. He doesn't look pissed, but deep down, there was probably an hour and a half there where it's just like, man.
I feel like maybe 10 minutes.
Maybe 10 minutes.
Then
he just looked at it. He's like, wait, what is my fidelity investment thing?
You know, he's pissed for so long on a boat.
There's a maximum amount of time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Matt, I want to know from you, what was your thoughts on the whole Jameis Winston
I was going to ask that too.
The victory formation touchdown?
My biggest takeaway is Arthur Smith is soft as Charmin, and Dennis Allen is soft as Charmin in a hurricane for apologizing to that chump. It's the NFL. A bunch of grown men who make more than the head coach decided they wanted to get their guy a touchdown, and they did. I'm hearing all this crap about, well, they were in victory formation. Who cares? Watch the play. The Falcons defenders weren't just standing around. They knew it was coming. It was an active play. They played defense, and they got Jamal Williams a touchdown. It's a rivalry. If you got a problem with it, you chumps, you freaking stop it. And I'll tell you this, there is not a single player in that Saints locker room that has a smidge of respect for Dennis Allen anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you go into the post-game press conference and apologize to the other coach and throw your team under the bus, brother, you have no respect whatsoever left in that locker room. You go into that press conference and say, we'll handle it internally. Miscommunication. Say whatever you want behind closed doors. You can do whatever you want. Fine them, run them, whatever. But, man, to go into the post-game press conference, the first thing out of your mouth preemptively is to apologize to the other coach. Fire Dennis Allen today.
Yeah.
Why do I have to live this existence? See, I'm so happy that Nick's gone, and now you asked me about Dennis Allen, and you pissed me off.
Well,
I'm going to lose my voice.
Matt,
I was going to do it either way.
Somebody explained to me, so Dennis Allen's got to have pictures of somebody, like at this point. And Pete Carroll gets fired? Like, Pete Carroll gets fired, but you're going to keep Dennis Allen, and the Bears going to keep Eberflus?
Yeah.
Weaver Goose, steal a moose, whatever. But here's my thing on the situation. One, you want to talk about players not having respect for a coach? Imagine defying the head coach on the last play of the game and then going into the post-game press conference of your Jameis Winston and saying that you defied the head coach. You want to talk about players not respecting a head guy? And listen, I'm not the biggest Arthur Smith fan, but if I'm Arthur Smith, who cares? My dad invented FedEx. Y'all can kiss my ass. I'm rich forever. But don't get in the victory formation. To me, that's my problem. There is a modicum of respect of Dennis Allen apologizing. I'm with you on that one. Moscona, because it makes you look bad because the players are running stuff you didn't call. But to me, if you're going to say we want to get Jamal Williams that touchdown, and I get it, stop him. I'm the same one that when Cam Newton, they got mad at him for dancing and stuff like that. Stop me. I agree with
heavy
him.
personnel,
but line up in jumbo personnel, and you don't get in the victory formation to do it.
Completely.
That's the problem.
Matt, if Tyrone Matthew scores on that interception, Arthur Smith doesn't have that reaction. Sean Payton got 70 points scored on him this year. All these guys are professionals. I honestly believe if they lined up in heavy personnel and ran it to get a guy a touchdown for maybe an incentive in his contract, or maybe it's just a divisional game and they said, we're going to score, I still don't think Arthur Smith would be upset. The victory formation, it means you've yielded, right? Like if the defense fires off the ball in victory formation and hurts your franchise quarterback, you would be upset in that situation, right?
Listen to Calais Campbell after the game. The Falcons players knew they were running a play. That's what everybody's missing here. Go watch the play. Everybody was on their toes. They knew they were running a play. I don't care what the formation was. Are we sitting here complaining when quarterbacks come when Dan Marino's faking the spike? And then
because they're trying to win that game.
But you're trying to win the game, though.
Talking about whenever
you wave the white flag,
the ball, and here comes the defender. The defender dives under the center to catch it, which is
I love it.
Now, what are we talking about? It's football. Play the game.
Hey, listen. Hey, the funny part is, I guarantee you see some runs out of a victory formation next. Like somebody's going to look at that. Yeah. Somebody's going to look at that and be like, "Hey, you gave it away."
Yeah, you gave it away.
Now everybody knows for that. But Matt, man, it's always great to talk to you, my friend. I know it's crazy times down there in Baton Rouge. You guys are killing it over at After Further Review. Tell everybody where they can find you, because again, man, it's going to be a crazy week and a half here coming up with. I don't think it's going to take that long for them to hire a new guy at Bama. I think there's probably a protocol that's been in the works. But tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, 3 to 6 Central weekdays on ESPN radio affiliates all throughout the state. But I would say if you can spell my name, you can find me. I'm on every platform. So appreciate you guys always.
Definitely. He's the easiest guy to find in a phone book. Matt Moscona.
Thank you, man.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
All right. Let's get to call. I want to get to calls.
We got Trey on the line in Atlanta. Wonder what.
All right. And hey, if it was busy when you called in, every time we take a call, it opens up a line.
Trey.
I know a lot of people want to talk. We're going to get to the Booster Club, too, and get to those donos. I know it's popping over there. But Trey, in the arms of the angels, fly away.
As Voltaire says very well, I'm in hell.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're in hell with the connection right now you got. Can't believe you got out of there with it.
It's Verizon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
buddy, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was confused by the connection comment. Yeah, man, it's in the dark room. It's weird. The connection's pretty good in here, I guess. And second time in 10 days. It's probably the worst 10 days of my life. But I don't know. The one thing I wanted to say, I'll be real quick because I called him yesterday. I was going to call him multiple days in a row, but I'm not fully convinced that people are going to deplete the Alabama, quote unquote stores, the players that are there and everything else. I mean, I think it completely depends on who comes in.
Yeah.
Right. So,
well, it's give and take, right? It's give and take. While the security guard's not at the store, the people are going to run in and loot. The minute a new sheriff comes into town, he's going to bring in his guys, and you're going to keep some of them. So it's a timing thing, right? Like there's nobody. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I'll say the other thing to keep in mind though is that the portal has closed on the other end. It's been closed for a week, so the amount of spots that are left out there, especially after signing day. So you signed, then you had the portal come in, and players have moved everywhere. So the other factor is that this is happening after the portal, after people have been settled into their new spots. Yeah. So the reality is there's not a whole ton of spaces out there.
That's true.
For people to go to. So
that's
for instance,
true.
I'm just thinking about our quarterback, Jalen. Where did he go? Where
I know a place.
Where did he go?
I know a place.
Auburn, huh? But I'm just saying there's not a whole lot of room out there. So in reality, there's probably going to be some movement. But I don't know.
Well,
I just wanted to call in and let Blaine take pot shots and have his moment,
Yeah, it's Trey.
It'd be the same if I didn't.
Yeah, here's what. That's why he's Flaming Dragon. But Trey, we appreciate you calling, brother. It's always great to talk to you. Here's what I'll say. Yes, a lot of spots have been taken already. Right? You can only have so many scholarships, even in today's game. You can only have so many scholarships. But with Alabama right now, with this rule where when your head coach leaves, you now have 30 days to transfer portal. They're the only show in town, right? They're the chum in the water where now all the sharks around are swimming to go try and tear apart, right? And it's not like there's not great players everywhere there. You're walking in. This is like the guy, the archaeologist who's been trying to find that coffin or whatever, sarcophagus for 30 years. And then eventually one day he just brushes over and he finds it. That's what it's like walking into at Alabama's roster right now. You're like, I'll take one of those and one of those and one of these and one of those. That's why timing, getting a guy in there to kind of stop the bleeding, right, is very important. But right now, Bama, it's the only show in town.
Student athletes.
Student athletes.
There's old Nick's signature right there.
Yeah, definitely. But Trey, we appreciate the call, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Traw.
All right, let's go to Carson in Alabama. Carson, where in Alabama are you?
Oh, I'm not doing so well. I'm not.
Oh,
you all right, man?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy, we hear you.
All right. Well, I promised Rick on Twitter yesterday. Where are you? Sorry.
I knew the Blink-182 was coming. I knew it was coming.
I've been listening to Sound of Silence, and I miss you since yesterday evening. It's been a bad day.
A lot of Chemical Romance getting played.
Yeah, the conformist. You're just conforming. But
lots of things are being played.
Here's Carson. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though. You're a Bama fan, right?
Indeed.
How do you think? What would be the reaction of the Alabama fan base after an 8-4 season next year? What would happen, you think?
I don't know, but I can't really say for the whole fan base in general. There's a lot of spoiled brats. I'm currently calling from our office. We've still got the 215 from Bear Bryant on the wall, the 1979 Iron Bowl picture on the wall, the final victory from Paul Bear on the wall. So our family and fans like us will be fine because I grew up with Shula. I remember.
So you've been through, so you know.
High school.
Yeah, Carson, I'm talking about that 19-year-old that's never been through any adversity.
We're going to hear a lot of whining. There's going to be a lot of whining for the next 3 or 4 years, if I had to guess. It's going to be insufferable for everyone else. That will probably be the immediate future for a lot of Alabama fans.
But Carson also totally worth it if you're a Bama fan.
What?
Totally worth what you're going through right now,
Totally
and maybe
worth it.
some choppy waters for Nick Saban just walking through, college football for so long. I mean, you can feed off those memories for a long time.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I grew up hearing stories of Paul Bear Bryant since I was a little kid. And so now I was able to live through the Nick Saban era. So it's been wonderful. Thank you for everything, Coach. You've been amazing. Also, congrats to you, Crain, for the CFP and national championship.
Champion,
man.
One day below break.
I didn't know it would get
this.
I didn't know it would get any more iconic than just finally winning that championship and going 15-0. But then you were the last team to beat Nick Saban at Alabama.
Dude.
That just adds.
God, that's like, don't you get an Infinity Stone for that?
You beat Vader.
Yeah.
You beat Darth
And
Vader.
as far as the Michigan-Bama game is concerned, Jake and I were both correct. Jake said it would come down to 4 or 5 plays, and I said we would need to stop Blake Corum. And it came down to Blake Corum to tie it up, to take it to overtime, and to win the game.
Well, you knew when it got to that fourth quarter who was toting that rock.
Yeah.
There's a reason they call him the Corum, the closer. But Carson, appreciate it, buddy.
Great call, man.
Thanks,
great
Carson.
call. Always fun to talk to you.
Appreciate it. Adam in Washington, how you feeling today?
Boys, I'm young. I'm only 19 years of age, and I hear
God, Adam, you sound
people
30
all the time say, "Well, it's those good manly genes."
Well, I'm sure you used to get away with calling in sick as a parent all the time. Like 11 years old, you're like, "Yeah, Adam, I think he's got an undisclosed illness. He won't be at school today. Bye."
Well, I mean, I've got a lot going on, man. I already work in law enforcement and married and have my first kid on the way. So
Nice.
Hell yeah, dude.
I live the life of a 30-year-old sometimes.
Hey, I love it.
Need
Appreciate
a
you.
society full of you.
Yeah, you're a cop in Washington? Oh, good luck.
Well, I'm moving to Arizona, but
There you go.
I hear everyone say, I remember where I was the day we saw when we saw 9/11. I'll tell you this much. I remember where I was when I got that ESPN notification saying Nick Saban had retired and how happy I was until I saw my head coach's face, Dan Lanning, plastered all over the place.
How worried, how nervy are you guys right now?
I was in Oregon Twitter space last night, and it's
panic.
It's panic mode. Extreme,
It's DEFCON 1,
100%.
like the orange lights going.
And when it started saying he was in Tuscaloosa, oh God!
I mean, right? Do you think right? Do you have a feel of like he's going to go? Like just within the Oregon fam, how's the feeling right now? Is it the trust tree?
So honestly, man, I don't know because when that Texas A&M job came open and he said, I've got everything I want here. I'm set for, he's like, I'm set up for success. I'm not leaving. I want to raise my family here. He seemed like we all believed him. He seemed sincere. But Texas A&M ain't no Bama. That ain't no Tuscaloosa, man. Mm-hmm. And I think all of Oregon is trying to hope for the best. But right now we're all sweating bullets right now, man. And I just have one message for Coach Lanning. Please,
we'll play it. Make it good.
And go. Just win one natty for Oregon. And like Cohn said about Harbaugh, we'll pack your bags.
We'll help you move.
It's worth it, man. There might not be a big difference between 6 championships and 4, but there's a big difference between 1 and 0.
Yeah, Adam said he'll give him a police escort.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
You can do that. You got the power to do that. Adam, good luck, man. We'll see. You never know.
Buddy. Yeah. Appreciate it, man. All right, Michael in Texas. Michael, what's up?
Good morning, guys. I wanted to talk about how the former Paul Palpatine, now Paul Feinbaum, admitted he was wrong about Harbaugh and Michigan, but obviously we've got bigger news to talk about right now. And David, like you said earlier, it's and I was on Twitter yesterday, and I was reading some of the Michigan Twitter saying, "Oh, we retired Nick Saban, this and that, yada yada." Mm-hmm. Sleeping on it, it's like you said it best. We were the last ones to beat the GOAT on his way out. Like we were talking about, you want to beat the man, you got to beat the man. And hey, we beat the man, and now he's gone. So it does add a little bit more significance to what we were able to achieve.
No doubt, it's special. And just keep in mind, that was the least elite roster, I think, that he has taken to the playoffs. And he had the game in hand with 4 minutes left, and it still went to overtime.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
We're still thinking, like, we're about to lose the Saban again. Like,
if I'm Harbaugh, I don't know if I coach another football game. I really don't.
You
went undefeated, basically ran through everybody, and you beat Nick Saban in the national championship game, and he retired.
You got money.
It's the Peyton Manning thing. I'm gone.
Well, I mean,
I've checked
it's like,
every box.
Look, I just see, Jim Harbaugh to me, like I just feel like he's was just playing Jenga yesterday, and somebody was like, "Hey, Nick Saban retired," and he was like, "Oh, cool. Hold on, you think I can get this one out? You think I can get this one out?" That's just what I think. That's just what I think.
That is so accurate. Like that's a great one.
He's like, "Oh, Saban retired, huh? But could he do this?"
It's like, what's a six-letter word for jumping?
Yeah.
Well, but it's weird. It's weird for me, and I just speak for a lot of people. Where we wake up in the world now. Michigan's national champ, Saban, and now Belichick are out.
Dude, it's weird.
It's like we just woke up in a brand new world.
We're figuring out what animals are saying.
Yeah, it's like just
exactly.
Strange, man. A bunch of strange stuff going on.
It is. You guys talk about Dane Lanning. It's going to be very fascinating to see the domino effect that's going to take place now that Saban's retired and Belichick's gone too. Like, Dane Lanning to Oregon. I don't know who goes to the Patriots. I say it's Vrabel since he used to play there.
Gotta be, right?
Defensive-minded coach, right?
I think it's going to. I think Robert Kraft is seeing what Dan Campbell's doing as a former player, now a coach in Detroit, and he's looking and saying Mike Vrabel could do that here.
Yeah, making cheese and hiring coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be fascinating. But I'll just say this. I know you said Harbaugh, doesn't need a coach again for the rest of his life. Each vacancy in the NFL that gets filled by someone not him gives me a little bit more hope, because I do want him back, and we'll see.
We'll see.
But
we'll see, my friend.
If he goes, I'll be with you to help pack his bags, because he did everything.
Only one guy knows. Just like this Saban thing, only one guy knows. Heck, we just did a segment on who retires first with Tim Brando, Nick Saban or Jim Harbaugh. That thing didn't even make it to the week. Only each of those guys know what's happening. And first bombshell drop. So we'll see. End of an era, no doubt. Thanks for calling, Michael.
Thanks,
we
Mike.
appreciate it. Go Blue, buddy.
Thanks,
all right,
guys.
Mo Bama on the line in Houston. Mo Bama, come on. It's the trust tree. Talk to us.
Bros. It's not Happy Thursday.
No.
First, I just wanted to say, roll tide. No matter what happens, to Coach Saban, thank you for many wonderful years. You deserve a long and happy retirement. And then second, I just want to refer everyone out there to Psalm 31. I'll just read 2 verses from there, but it'd do everyone good to read this, the whole one this morning. But verse 9 and verses 14 through 15 say, "Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am in distress. My eye is wasted from grief, my soul and body also. But I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hand. Rescue me from the hand of my enemies and from my persecutors." Because that's what everybody else is.
Amen.
Today.
Love that.
Mo Bama, that's
Thank
good.
You for sharing that.
Look, I'm so interested to see what happens. It's very nice to see the portion of the Alabama fan base that is like reflecting in a good way today instead of overreacting and freaking out. I've seen a little bit of that. Also, the jam you sent was fantastic.
I'm so glad y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And look for.
How did you enjoy it, Dave?
I need some.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say.
Look, I'm on Carnivore
maybe
right now.
The whole Mo Bamba thing's going to start coming.
I'm on Carnivore right now, but in February, I'd love some jam.
It's
Mo Bama. Who do you want? Who do you want to be y'all's coach?
Well, originally I thought he would raise someone up from one of the internal positions, but a lot of people there are still, first couple of years under their belt, so I thought he would take a little bit more time and we would all kind of know who it was. So either, he's got a couple of his first picks ready to go, or like maybe number 1, number 2 pick, and he just knows something we don't, or it's going to be somebody outside of the organization.
Yeah.
But I'd be fine with a lot of people, just not Dabo, and definitely not Bill O'Brien. He needs to stay far, far, far.
Yeah.
So why not Dabo? Because you're far from the first Alabama fan who said that exact statement to me before.
Dabo Swinney's a traitor. He has Bama blood. He had the whole Bama, background, and he knows the culture. and he still chose to be slimy when he was at the top with Clemson. And I just don't trust that he would ever not be slimy if he started to get on top of Bama. So I don't want that anywhere near our program.
Dabo? Or are we talking about Urban Meyer?
We're talking, well, both of them, but Dabo
Urban Meyer's a saint.
Is it just is it just because Dabo was one of the few to have some success against Alabama and Nick Saban, or does it hurt more because he won a championship there? Like, I'm still trying to figure it out.
No, he ran a couple of plays and talked some smack about Saban and Alabama's culture. There was a few press conferences the couple of years that he was on top, even when he wasn't winning. And I just, I think that he was trying to rub it in and, like, you know, say that he's a big dog. And honestly, he was at the time. You know, it's good to win. But at the same time, like, I want our school to be about class and tradition, not about, you know, slimy behavior when you're winning. And I understand that a lot of people these days have gotten spoiled and they don't carry the class and tradition. Honestly, those people can get out. They're not real Bama fans. Like, y'all need to remember what it was like before Saban and, you know, humble yourselves a little bit. And I think that Dabo does not promote that. So in my opinion, you know, he can do great somewhere else, but he definitely doesn't need to be with our program. We need somebody who's going to bring class and at the top.
You know what I kind of compare this, the Alabama fans, like the new age Alabama fans that have known nothing but success compared to the ones like Mobama who went through the hard times and then got to success. It's almost like when I used to ask my great grandmother, I was like, why do you put bread in the freezer? Why are you putting bread in the freezer? She's like, well, I went through the Great Depression. Yeah. So, yeah, I can go to the grocery store now and get whatever I want, and buy this and buy that. But I remember how the hard times were. And it's amazing how going through the tough times make the sweet times so sweet and gives you such a good perspective on the situation as opposed to, you know, the other people that have only been spoiled this whole time and feel like they should win every game and that if they don't, then it's the end of the world and this, that, and the other. So, Mobama, that's a great call. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Mobama. Sense of jam, please.
Roll Tide, y'all.
Definitely.
Roll Tide. All right, Sasha in Austin, one last caller. Sasha, how you doing today?
Hey, boys, we're doing great today, and I'm going to make this quick so we can all get to wrap-ups. But for all the Bama fans that are out there, think about this, right? Go back to Bear Bryant. He came from Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher's open. He's won a national championship. He's part of the Saban coaching tree. Take him. You guys can have it.
Jimbo to Bama. God, dude, you want to talk about a meltdown? You want to talk about an absolute that would be like Chernobyl. Like, oh no, like we can't be around here for 100,000 years, like because of the radiation. It would be that would be the craziest thing ever if Jimbo got the Bama job. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
After
I'm
all
thinking
the
about
trash
it right now
that has been talked back and forth, both ways. Like
I can't.
Jimbo
I'm trying to
was
think
Nick's
about it now.
Kirby, before Kirby.
Would he still get paid from Texas A&M? Or is the clause, if you take another job, you don't get the buyout?
No, that $80 million was guaranteed, 100%.
Wow.
That's all his money.
Do you think he'd buy the
Man.
Bama would never hire him, but if they did, you think he'd just burn it down and walk out?
No.
I don't know.
But,
no, he would,
but how hard?
He would just beat A&M.
He would just beat A&M.
He would just beat A&M.
You either take Jimbo as a tribute to Bear Bryant and see if he can replicate it, or you go and you grab Dan Mullen because you know he's going to burn it down, and you can actually go get a Dan Lanning after Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen.
No.
Wow. Sasha, great call, man. By the way, I had some of that Salt Lake barbecue sauce the other night.
Yeah, we did too. Yeah, appreciate it, Sasha. Thank you. Josh, everybody else, y'all call in tomorrow, please.
Yeah, I want to hear this. It's Flaming Dragon Friday tomorrow. All right, I'm going to go to bets. We're going to get to these donos. All right, last night, 1-1. Thanks, Ole Miss. Miami, y'all lost to Louisville in basketball?
Weird day yesterday in basketball.
What a weird day.
Weird day in hoops.
Thank God Ole Miss
Cone's the kiss of death for Tennessee.
I'm done with Tennessee.
No, but guess who Cone's dark horse to win the Natty was?
No, yeah.
I had more people message me yesterday that said, why? Why?
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
He's the Holly Rowe of Tennessee.
He really is Tennessee.
I was thinking about taking Notre Dame.
You do a great job.
Yeah. Holly Rowe does a great
also,
job,
Michigan dodged the Holly Rowe curse in this championship.
It wasn't for y'all.
Oh, it was just Auburn? Just the Auburn curse?
Yeah, there's only curses for certain people. And it's hard to be curses for your own team. I think it's impossible.
It's like anytime I see anytime I see, and again, we love Holly Rowe, but every time she does an Auburn game, like a significant game, not like against like somebody that's bad, but like a big game, Auburn loses. Every time I see her, and Holly does a great job. Beth Mowins, on the other hand, it's just bad luck, and I can't listen to it.
If Holly Rowe's at an LSU game and it's before 2, we're screwed.
Oh, we're dead.
We're dead.
We're so dead. Put the rent on whatever LSU is.
We're done.
It's just science. All right, tonight, James Madison, -13. Playing South Alabama.
South Alabama. Ow!
No. I love money more than the alma mater, though.
USA.
Money alma mater.
He's a European League of Tender.
I want to be ninja.
Then, Papa.
Anyways, Richie Riley, I hope they turn it around. I hope I'm wrong on this one.
Yeah.
Kinda. But give me JMU -13. Then a little two-teamer. We're going to the Big Ten. Give me Maryland money line at home against Michigan. Juwan Howard. They got a punching chance. Also with Illinois at home against Michigan State. All right, parlay those together. +167. I want to be ninja. David?
All right.
You want to be ninja?
0-2 yesterday. No
You're
one.
too tall to be a ninja.
Tennessee, Kansas. No one can win on the road. No one can win on
Did
the road.
Kansas end up winning?
Lost.
They lost outright. So you know I'm taking 2 home teams tonight. Give me Illinois -3.5. That's -110. And then Tulane +7.5. -110.
Tulane playing FAU.
FAU.
I love that bet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
FAU can't cover anybody.
All right.
Give me the Oh, God. I took that.
Blake took FAU to cover.
That's supposed to be Tulane. That's supposed to be Tulane.
I'm glad you
it was supposed to be. Hold on, let me look at the picture.
I'm glad you love
I'm wrong
my
with
bet.
Tulane.
All right, wait, so you're going to go Tulane.
I'm supposed to be
It's amazing.
Now I
How
feel
did
like
you
I
have
have to switch it.
Tulane -6.5?
Now I feel like I have
clicked the
to
wrong.
switch.
Well, I clicked the bets and sent the picture. I clicked the wrong bet.
You obviously don't want to be.
He said, I love your bet.
That's what I was agreeing with.
Blake's like, FAU can never cover
clicked the
anything. That's why I'm
wrong
taking
button.
FAU.
I sent pictures of my bets. I clicked the wrong button for the bet.
It's locked
So
now.
you're taking Tulane.
Tulane +7.5.
It's locked.
It's not.
That looks an awful lot like FAU -6.5. But go ahead. What's your second one? It must be in hieroglyphics.
Then I'm going with the middle school team. Give me the Gonzaga -9.5. They're playing
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
Yeah. Who again? There's and I just don't trust a team where your parents still work at the concession
like
stand.
Gonzaga's going to walk in and Santa Clara's going to be in the stand with those little popsicles.
Yeah, with those popsicle sticks.
The popsicle sticks.
100%.
All right, let's get to these donos. Let's go to Coffee Guys Sports with a $5 donation. Seahawks is the most attractive NFL job right now, and will they go after Harbaugh?
More than the Chargers, if I had to pick one.
Which
is it more
Seahawks?
attractive than the Patriots?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah,
with the roster they have. And again, I know it hasn't been going good here lately. It's a little bit of a different circumstance. I ain't trying to follow Bill Belichick, man.
All right, let's go to Andy J with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Andy. It says, help settle an argument, please. Who is the bigger GOAT for their sport? Nick Saban or Coach K?
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban.
Right? Is it close?
No.
Not close at all.
No, I don't think it's that close. Yeah. I mean, Coach K is one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. He ain't John
It's
Wood.
close in the sense that they're both one of the greatest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Saban.
Let's go to 9 Mil Norm with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, man. Just read Belichick is gone. Hope old Nick enjoys the oatmeal cream pies. He cost my dogs 2 natties in 2012 and 17. Adios, Bubba.
No. Yeah, y'all don't miss
see
tomorrow.
The people outside of Saban statue put all the oatmeal cream pies?
Yeah.
Did you see they rolled Toomer's Corner?
Yeah.
I don't know how.
College football is undefeated. Why? You don't feel good about that?
What did we win?
It's y'all's thing, though.
I know, but it is our thing in certain moments and certain times. But we have to win something.
Interesting.
I did see some Alabama. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, I kind of get it though. But you had some Alabama fans that were like, "Oh, look at this, how classless this is." Dog, y'all poisoned a tree over a jersey on a statue. I don't want to hear a damn word from one of y'all about class
I didn't see it as classless. What's a greater compliment than you would do your thing, your celebratory thing, when the other team's head coach retires? That just speaks to his greatness.
Yeah.
You know, I know, but I don't want to speak to Nick Saban's greatness as an Auburn fan.
Yeah, hey, look, all I'm saying is there was a time when Jim Harbaugh got an extension and the Buckeyes Twitter was liking it. Like, yeah, please be the coach there forever.
Yeah.
That hurts worse than when the other team is celebrating that you left.
Yeah, well, trust me.
Six
national championships hurt pretty bad, too. I promise you.
That's why Florida State, I put out yesterday on social, I was like, how many wins does Billy Napier have to have next year to keep his job? And like 3 Florida State fans were like 2-10. Please, 2. He needs 2. Get him 2, keep him, let him cook.
All right, let's go to Bro Bama with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, brother. Real Bama fans can handle 8-4 or even a losing season. Saban planned his replacement anyway. # Roll Tide, # Never Dabo, and # Never Bob.
Never. I'm telling you, dude, they hire Bill O'Brien. They're going to be showing up with pitchforks and torches to the city council meeting.
Let's go to Tim Cornay with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Tim. Says, everyone saw the NCAA's president's remarks. Sorry, haters. Go blue.
Tough day for the vacate crowd.
Let's go to Brian Hardhead Harston with a $2 donation. Guys, it's me. I'm the next head coach at Alabama.
You took the job already, B?
I love it.
Dude, the funniest part is, like, I actually, like, as much hell as we give Brian Harston, and he was bad for Auburn, I think it'd be fun to hang out with him.
Oh, I liked him. I thought he was.
I've gotten told different stories.
See, I think if he likes you, obviously.
Yeah,
like, I think
told.
Now, after what I've said about him, he probably won't want to hang out with me, but I want to hang out with you, so there.
Huddle up.
I don't want to, but I would.
Huddle up,
guys. We still suck. All right.
Yeah.
He hurt the huddle up movement, you know.
He
but
did.
That's okay.
Y'all brought it back, though. Michigan brought it back.
We're revitalizing it.
Yeah, nobody huddles like you guys.
All right, let's go to Justin Alfieri. This is the last donation of the day. $5 donation. He says, what would y'all think of James Franklin to Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, him leaving Penn State with that unfinished business. Like, would I be shocked about that one? No, but I think that one's that would just be used for leverage, just like he did with USC to get him more money at Penn State. That's what I think.
Well, I lied. We have one more. Jacob Smith with a $5 donation. Jacob, appreciate it, man. He says, I think Dan Lanning would be crazy to take the job. Oregon has plenty of NIL money. If you go 9-3 at Bama, the fans will call for your head. # spoiled fans.
Yeah, everybody has spoiled fans. Alabama's just had more reason to have more spoiled fans because they've had a ton of success. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's Dan. I really don't. Look, I could be wrong. But I just, again, it's typically never the first person you hear.
Okay, I've got a couple more that's coming through. Jonah G with a $5 donation. Jonah, appreciate it, man. He says, I'm very thankful for Pete, a legend, but the Seahawks haven't been serious contenders for almost a decade. I think it was time.
I can understand.
I understand
that argument, right? It's just who's out there right now that you feel like can come in and I don't know, man. It's just weird with Pete Carroll. Like, it's weird seeing Pete Carroll not have success, to be honest with you.
And he drafted so well. The last 2 years, they drafted really well. It's just, you saw Sean McVay move on from Jared Goff to get Matt Stafford to get to the Super Bowl ready. And Jared Goff, I think you could say, is a better quarterback and is going to have a better career than Geno Smith. Even when you talk about Kyle Shanahan, the success he had, he got Matt Ryan an MVP. Yeah. He moved on from the Trey Lance to Brock Purdy. I don't know, man. So it's like everybody just wants an offensive-minded coach right now or an elite quarterback, who can be developed.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Trey Bodenhammer with a $2 donation. He says, I heard Holly Rowe is now calling all Auburn games.
I heard that too.
Well, good. I just won a lot of money fading Auburn.
Yeah, don't put that evil on me, buddy. Let's get to the poll. Who will be Alabama's next head coach? Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin,
Flaming Dragon,
Deion Sanders.
Only 3 choices.
Only 3.
All right.
Dan Lanning, like 75%.
Wrong.
Dan Lanning, 65%.
Dan Lanning, 60%.
Wow.
Lane Kiffin, 30%. Deion Sanders, 11%.
Interesting. All right, thank you guys. Good job, Booster Club. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Go grab some merch. Check out FitBod. I'm telling you, fitbod.me/booster. Make sure you go check that out. We appreciate y'all. It's been going to be a crazy day. It's only going to get crazier. Thank you, Matt Moscona. All right, our good buddy over there. It's obviously an emotional time down in Baton Rouge. Got a great show for you tomorrow, so make sure you check us out. And like Nick Saban, coaching in Alabama. We're going.
You catch a card. There you go.
Wow. Bingo.